Check out my parts may not be a great pickup line, but it is certainly enticing when it comes to electronic components. Please join me as I unveil to the public what I have dearly kept private until now. Check out my parts.
Hi guys, good evening. Thank you for tuning in to my channel. I don't know what your idea of a good time on a Saturday night is, but this is what I like to do. But something makes me think that if you're into electronics, you probably like the same things I do. So anyway, these are the ICs that I managed to salvage. I went in my backyard and with some aviation snips or some heavy-duty scissors, I cut these ICs off of circuit boards. Mostly these ICs came off of VCRs, which are a gold mine for electronic components, particularly the PDIP mount ICs, as opposed to surface mount. So most of this stuff is probably from the late 1980s and early 1990s. Which IC came off of which circuit board, I really can't remember. So I labeled my parts. This took me about an hour to look everything up. Is it accurate? Maybe not. Maybe I've mislabeled things. I couldn't even find out what this was. If you know what type of ICs typically start with LC, please leave a comment below. That might bring me a step closer to identifying this part. Now, I don't just simply love collecting parts, although I do like it, but maybe, just maybe, I could actually use one of these ICs in a project. That's my hope. Well, I know I can use this one. This is just a classic op-amp IC you can use to make a small amplifier with a speaker. Maybe I should. I have about 10 or 15 speakers in a drawer I don't know what to do with. So, without wasting too many more words, I suppose that is my introduction. I'll get looking at each different part. Most of them are probably garbage, something I won't be able to either make sense of or even use. So first up is the MN1220 non-volatile electrically alterable ROM. So is EAROM a predecessor of EEPROM? I don't know. Maybe you do. Maybe I will know later on. There are a lot of ROM type chips in my parts. Here's the next chip. Toshiba CMOS Digital Integrated Circuit. The TC4013BP Dual D-type flip-flop. Flip-flops CMOS Logic ICs standard series. So I looked it up. Flip-flops are elementary digital memory devices capable of storing a single logic state or bit of information. They have at least two inputs, one or more to communicate the data to be stored, and another to indicate the point in time to store it. So I did have all the IC data sheets pulled up. I'm a little bit lazy to sort through them all, so I don't know. What's this? Is this RAM? Or is this ROM? Okay, so I'm learning. So what is a D-type flip-flop? A D, or delay flip-flop, figure 1, is a digital electronic circuit used to delay the change of state of its output signal, Q, until the next rising edge of a clock timing input signal occurs. Here's the data sheet, and I won't say much more. Alright, so moving on. Just looking up the... Hold on, I gotta sneeze. Alright, so the next one is a TBA12OU. And there it is an IF amplifier with a symmetrical FM demodulator and an AF amplifier. I don't know what that stands for. Audio frequency? I don't know. With adjustable output voltage. The AF amplifier is also provided with an output for volume control and an input for VCR operation. And that NXP semiconductor came up. I forget what that is. Is that Philips? Don't want to get that wrong while I'm recording. But anyway, yeah, I don't think it's Traco Power, but it came up on an initial search. I think it's NXP. But yeah, I told you I'm dealing with VCR ICs. I won't spend too much time on this one since I feel I got pretty good description. Microchip often has various different IC versions of a same type of chip. This isn't a microcontroller. It's 4K of EEPROM. Electrically erasable programmable ROM. And 24LC04B. Yep, pretty sure that's what I'm dealing with. So I'll move on. Maybe this might be something I'd like to try. Can I use that for something? So the next IC didn't show up so well in the picture, although I can look at it and I can see it clearly enough with my eyes. Must have been the angle. I took the picture at HCPL 3020, manufacturer Avago, 0.4 amp output current IGBT gate drive optocoupler. Well, I don't know enough. Maybe engineers will be laughing at me if they watch my video. But I know optocouplers are used to isolate circuits. I guess you can isolate circuits with buffers or op amps or something. I'm showing my ignorance. But this is more specific than just isolating a circuit. Well, maybe I'll sniff this one out a little bit. So here's an optocoupler in general, a device containing light-emitting and light-sensitive components used to couple isolated circuits. So I had to look it up. What is an IGBT gate as opposed to an LGBT? I won't make jokes, but it's awfully similar. Insulated gate bipolar transistor. An insulated gate bipolar transistor is a 3-terminal power semiconductor device primarily forming an electronic switch. I need to know more. An IGBT power module functions as a switch and can be used to switch electrical power on and off extremely fast and with high energy efficiency. The IGBT power module is becoming the preferred device for high power applications due to its ability to enhance switching, temperature, weight, and cost performance. So it's an opto-isolator, and it's used for high-speed switching on and off of, well, I don't know about high power, but it's got a power rating, 0.4 amps. You tell me. Next up is the CCAM discriminator IC BA7007, and it's in one of these upright billboard style IC packages. I just made that term up. Suitable for use in VCRs, video cassette recorders. So what is a discriminator IC? I mean, I remember when people were modifying old radio scanners that did not have digital decoding in them, just analog. They were adding the discriminator mod, and then they could demodulate digital signals, if I'm using the right words. So, for reference, discriminators are widely used in radiation monitoring systems. The purpose of a discriminator is to mark the arrival time of an input pulse. Ideally, the discriminator's output logic signal marking the arrival of the input pulse should be independent of pulse amplitude and rise time. So here's an explanation of what a radio discriminator is. I shouldn't think while I'm recording. Note to self to look up what is a discriminator IC on YouTube. Oh heck, maybe I'll do that now. So yeah, once again I'm getting videos talking about an FM discriminator, and I'm still not clear if that's seriously distinct from some other type of discriminator I see. Well, this is really taking me down a different rabbit hole, as often happens. Well, I'll have to leave it at that. So next up, seem to have cut it off, the ATC 93LC46 9938. And I didn't know, but searching for that microchip comes up. So is that the same thing? I mean, it's the exact serial number, 93LC46, but it doesn't say microchip. So I looked it up. Is ATC the same as microchip? Microchip ATC, hey, that's the same chip I'm talking about. Serial micro wire 1 kilobyte. I mean, just because this is here doesn't mean it's the same chip. I put this here. I copied and pasted this next to my chip, just in case you're wondering. So I don't think that if I stare at this picture long enough, I'm going to understand anything. Well, I can't make sense out of this. I don't know. If you know the answer, please tell me. Here's microchip and ATC comes up. So in electronics, what is ATC? Automatic timing and controls, and ATC diversified electronics. Maybe I'm looking too deeply into this. I'm happy to accept that this is EEPROM. Also interesting that maybe I could use this. I don't know how, but if I get the pinouts and figure that out, watch a few YouTube videos on other hobbyists making use of EEPROM, potentially, maybe I could find a way to use it. I need a lesson. Okay, next in my picture is the CSI CAT93C46P. It's pretty close to the serial code that I found, and the info that I could find within a brief search. It pretty much has the same serial number of the chip. It's a little different down here, whatever this is. Different chip number, or is it the same thing? Date code, is that what that is? Down here. CSI, SpeakoDiv, that's the manufacturer. EEPROM, Serial Micro Wire 1K bit, 8-pin PDIP. So it's EEPROM. So I'm thinking these aren't microcontrollers, but maybe these are in the VCR because they have some type of programmed instruction within the ROM, and it carries out some task. So this is not a microcontroller, but maybe the microprocessors in the VCR are perhaps relying on this for programmable code, programmed ROM code. Just a guess. Next chip I'm looking at, I think, is the LC899B2 7YUF. I don't know how to read these. Is that a date code? I don't know. Or just a serial code? Who makes LC chips? So I typed in What manufacturer makes... This is an L. Oh, was that the name of it? LC? LC. So this is neat. Top 100 integrated circuits manufacturers in the world. Well, this is neat. This could be a separate video. Samsung is number 1. TSMC, number 2. Intel is 3. Hynix, Micron, Broadcom, Qualcomm, Texas Instruments, Toshiba, NXP, Infineon, MediaTek, STM Microelectronic. I plan to keep going here until I see Microchip. Renesas, Sony, Western Digital, Xilinx. What's the one on Terminator and RoboCop? AMD, Analog Devices, NVIDIA. Apparently this. But who makes LCs? And here's Microchip at number 21. Rome, Marvel Technology, on Ontario Semiconductor. Okay, that's I thought that was in Ontario. Well, maybe it's not Ontario. On Semi, ASE Group, ACE, Cypress. Okay, so like LM, but that's not what I'm looking for. But LM, I do want to know what that one is National Semiconductor. Hold on, it was an American semiconductor manufacturer. So what changed? And it's defunct as of 2011, but it was acquired by Texas Instruments, which kind of makes sense because I think if I look up the LM386, I believe Texas Instruments comes up for the datasheets for that. But who makes the LC serial mark of ICs? So I don't know. Okay, next is the C210C chip. I put this information next to it. It doesn't mean it's correct. This is just what showed up. So this may be a surface mount transient voltage suppressor diode. It might be that. I don't know. For the record, it's a C. I don't even know if that's a C. That might be a 0. 0210C. So here's a Google search. This may or may not even be the correct result, but it has a 0210C in the serial number. Is that a 0210C? What do you think of that? What does that say? If it's correct, it's a speech and music processor. Features advanced integrated speech synthesizer for high-quality sound. Operates up to 12.32 megahertz. Well, that might be something that gets used in a VCR. I don't know. It's not even the same thing here. The SC614 is a low-cost mixed signal processor that combines a speech synthesizer, general-purpose I/O onboard ROM, and direct speaker drive in a single package. And this has like 76 pins. This has 8 pins. It's probably not the same thing. Yeah, and that covers them all. So what am I to do?